Outside the Murim Alliance, Yoon and Segun strolled together. Yoon seemed downcast, carrying a heavy burden on his shoulders. Segun, filled with joy, complimented Yoon, acknowledging him as the prophesied hero. He praised Yoon for his extraordinary qualities and the role he was destined to fulfill. Turning to Segun, Yoon's expression shifted to one of distress and sadness. In his mind, Yoon questioned the sudden burden of being labeled as the hero. He felt overwhelmed by the responsibility and the prospect of facing formidable enemies once again, especially after the harrowing experience in the tomb. Yoon's thoughts centered on a desire to return home, away from the complexities and dangers that awaited him as the supposed hero of the Murim Alliance. As the uncanny heroic squad arrived, Ryu called out to Yoon, excited to see him. Seopong expressed gratitude to Yoon for their release from prison, but was cut off by Suyin, who rushed over to hug Yoon. Yoon blushed at the unexpected hug, thinking it might be better to stick around a bit longer. Suyin, with a touch of concern in her voice, expressed relief at Yoon's safety before realizing her actions and quickly stepping back. She cleared her throat and mentioned how worried she had been upon seeing Yoon fall. Yoon responded casually, acknowledging her words with a simple, "Is that so?" Yoon pondered, surprised that Suyin's worry was directed towards him rather than Kuang, prompting a sense of realization. Suyin, with a hint of frustration, expressed regret over not taking stronger action against Chun in the past. Meanwhile, Seng mentioned the recent altercation between Yoon and Chun at the Murim Alliance's gate, inquiring about the outcome and the situation with the Azure Heaven Sword. Recalling Mok's warning about the potential chaos if news of the Azure Heaven Sword's knowledge of demonic arts spread, Yoon resolved to handle the situation discreetly. Yoon realized the need to rectify the situation and make amends for the recent events. Yoon chuckled and responded, acknowledging they had heard about the incident. He explained that his emotions had been stirred due to the challenges they faced inside the tomb because of Chun. Seopong mentioned that Chun was currently under the care of the Divine Doctor of 1,000 Skills, indicating that he deserved the treatment. He then turned to Yoon, expressing disbelief at his ability to defeat the formidable Azure Heaven Sword. Seopong gave Yoon a thumbs up and whispered, suggesting the possibility of Yoon having had a lucky encounter inside the tomb. Yoon, taken aback, asked for clarification, surprised by the sudden speculation. Seopong lightheartedly slapped Yoon on the back, revealing that it was all just a joke, causing Yoon to breathe a sigh of relief, having momentarily thought Seopong had uncovered something. Seopong then inquired about Kuang's well-being and whether he too was receiving treatment from the Divine Doctor of 1,000 Skills. Seng expressed curiosity about Kuang's condition, noting that they had only been informed that he was currently in quarantine, leaving them uncertain about his progress. Yoon suddenly had a realization about Jagal Seopong, potentially possessing knowledge about the ancient empire and the Yelu clan. He approached Jagal Seopong and politely inquired about the ancient empire situated in the frontier, mentioning rumors of its destruction during a rebellion by the feudal lords. Seopong, taken aback by the seemingly straightforward question, responded with confusion, questioning Yoon's abrupt request for such information out of the blue. Yoon shared his knowledge about the Yelu clan, a clan among the feudal lords. Seopong, deep in thought, reflected on the Yelu clan's connection to an ancient empire in the frontier. Ryuyan, curious about the conversation, interjected to inquire about the topic at hand. Seopong had a sudden realization, recalling reading about a similar ancient country, although uncertain about its existence. Yoon, observing the unfolding discussion, felt a sense of confirmation about the information he had suspected. Seopong began to narrate a tale from thousands of years ago about a country called Dejiang, where several feudal lords elected an individual with mysterious abilities as their emperor and served under him. He recalled two prominent families among these lords, the Yelu clan and the Yuchi clan. The Yelu clan, known for their knowledge and expertise in setting up formations and sorcery, played a crucial role in the country. On the other hand, the Yuchi clan, renowned for their exceptional skill in martial arts, held significant power and led the military affairs of the nation as a formidable powerhouse. Yoon contemplated the role of the Yelu clan in formations and sorcery, connecting it to the hidden place within the astral phantom thief's tomb. He realized that the items discovered there were likely remnants left behind by the Yelu clan. Seopong, intrigued by Yoon's sudden interest in the ancient empire, questioned the reason behind the inquiry. Yoon, coming up with a quick excuse, casually replied that he had a genuine interest in history, masking his true motivations and thoughts. Yoon inquired about any additional information regarding the emperor with mystical abilities, hinting at the possibility of the emperor coming from another world. Seopong shared intriguing details about the emperor, mentioning that there was only one emperor in power from the country's founding until its end. However, He speculated that the idea of a single emperor ruling throughout might have been an exaggeration passed down through generations. Searching his memory for the emperor's name, Seopong recalled it as the Heavenly Lord. Yoon was shocked by the revelation, realizing the significance of the title Heavenly Lord and its potential connection to the leader known as the Heavenly Lord in the Grand Plan. At the Wuhan port, Yoon contemplated the connection between the Grand Plan and the ancient empire, wondering if they held the key to his return to the modern world. However, he realized that it might not be wise to confront them at the moment, especially after interfering with their plan in the tomb. Yoon acknowledged the potential danger of facing the members of the Grand Plan, understanding that his actions could have consequences. He hoped that they might show mercy and not harm him immediately upon encountering him. Hu and Xian greeted Woon warmly. Hu asked Woon if he had truly defeated the Yangtze water dragon, expressing awe at the feat. Woon modestly responded, mentioning that the dragon was not as strong as he had anticipated. He then expressed his pleasure at reuniting with Hu and Xian. Xian inquired, asking Woon if he truly intended to establish a branch of the Five Virtues tea shop in Wuhan. Woon affirmed his plans, explaining that Wuhan was a central hub for gathering information from the Central Plains. He believed having a base there would be crucial for their future endeavors. Hu, considering the proximity of the location to the Murim Alliance, expressed concerns about the potential risks associated with opening a branch in Wuhan. Woon tapped Hu on the shoulder and praised him for his excellent work in Sichuan, emphasizing that establishing the tea shop in Wuhan was a task tailored for Hu's skills. Encouraged by Woon's confidence in him, Hu agreed to give his best effort for the new endeavor. Shifting the focus of the conversation, Woon asked if they had made any progress on the task he had assigned them earlier. In the mountain river, Jiangxi Gongma made landfall, catching the attention of the divine monarch. The Grand Plan's thousand-faced fox reported that the situation was dire, with complete destruction and the severing of the source itself. Jichin, the Grand Plan Divine Supreme, questioned the thousand-faced fox's typically meticulous approach to surgeries, hinting at a potential oversight. The thousand-faced fox explained that the urgency to secure a target arose due to the broken taboo and the sudden appearance of someone who defied prophecy. Rushing to action in such circumstances could lead to unforeseen complications and problems. Jichin pointed out that according to the prophecy, the message from the Qingjin sect was not supposed to reach the Murim Alliance, and Chang'e should have perished in the Yangtze River as foretold. The divine monarch expressed disappointment, mentioning that the Grand Plan Divine Supreme strategy had once more diverged off course. The monarch questioned why the plan had deviated from the usual alignment with the Heavenly Lord's guidance. Jichin commented on the source being severed, prompting the thousand-faced fox to suggest the idea of eliminating the individual responsible. In response, Jichin considered the possibility that if that person had acquired the knowledge to transcend boundaries through the Yelu clan's secret arts, they might prove valuable to the Heavenly Lord. Therefore, Jichin proposed keeping a watchful eye on this individual for the time being. As Yoon strolled under the moonlit night sky, thoughts swirled in his mind. He questioned the validity of the information he had uncovered. The celestial arts employed by the Grand Plan's Blood Heaven seemed to have originated from a group of traitors who had been expelled from their own grand cult, the Blood Cult. Additionally, the inscriptions found in the tomb bore the distinctive markings of the Sun-Moon Divine Cult. Yoon pondered the potential connections between the Grand Plan and the Divine Cult, considering the intricate web of relationships and histories at play. Yoon spotted Suyin and inquired about her presence at such a late hour. Yoon playfully questioned if Suyin had been waiting for him. Suyin revealed that she had news to share. Curious, Yoon asked about the news, prompting Suyin to announce that the Alliance leader had appointed him as the White Dragon Group leader. Yoon was taken aback by the unexpected news, expressing shock at the revelation of being chosen as the White Dragon Group leader. Yoon pondered over the timing of the novel's mention of the White Dragon Group leadership following Kuang's rise to fame. In the storyline, Kuang was supposed to attain that position later on. Yoon questioned why he was being appointed to the role now, especially considering that defeating the Yangtze water dragon seemed like an overly grand gesture of welcome. He speculated that Chang'e's words might have influenced the Alliance leader's decision more than anticipated, leading to the unexpected offer of the White Dragon Group leadership to him. Yoon hesitated, feeling overwhelmed by the significance of the position offered to him. He expressed doubt about being an ordinary individual deserving of such a crucial role, considering the presence of the esteemed warrior, Kuang. In his thoughts, Yoon reflected on the complexities of his role as a spy for the divine cult, realizing the risks associated with standing out in such a prominent position. Suyin interjected, expressing her belief that Yoon was deserving of the position, leaving Yoon surprised and seeking clarification on her unexpected statement. Suyun pointed out Yun's exceptional deeds, highlighting his acts of saving numerous individuals inside the tomb and defeating the leader of the Yangtze 18 Pirate Alliance on the way to the Murim Alliance. She emphasized that these achievements were not typical for an ordinary person. Yoon hesitated, expressing uncertainty about his capabilities. He mentioned the limited number of individuals in the White Dragon group, suggesting that they might be Kuang's close associates. He seemed to consider the implications of accepting the position in light of this information. Suyun remarked on Yun's character, unsure if he was open-minded or narrow-minded, leaving Yoon with a questioning expression. She went on to explain that the White Dragon group had more members than Yoon had anticipated. After Yun's confrontation with the Azure Heaven Sword, the whereabouts of the sword's leader were unknown, resulting in a vacant position in the Azure Heaven unit. The Alliance leader decided to transfer all remaining members of the Azure Heaven unit to the White Dragon group. Yoon, feeling perplexed by this sudden turn of events, expressed confusion. He noted that this development deviated from the novel's plot. In response, Yoon brought up Tang Zhong, the traitor, questioning if he also belonged to the Azure Heaven unit. Suyun confirmed Tang Zhong's affiliation with the Azure Heaven unit, prompting Yoon to assert confidently that he would now lead the traitor's former unit. On a bright morning, Yoon found himself in a good mood. Reflecting on their training session, he remembered seeking revenge on Tang Zhong and Jaegao Miyang. Addressing Zhong, Yoon sternly commanded him to continue with 5 more laps, expressing his frustration. Meanwhile, Miyang lay on the ground, exhausted from the intense training. As Zhong pleaded for mercy, Yoon contemplated the responsibilities of being the White Dragon group leader, finding a sense of satisfaction in his newfound role. Yoon approached the Divine Doctor, inquiring if he had been summoned by him. The Divine Doctor, known for his myriad skills, instructed Yoon to follow him. He cautioned Yoon not to disturb Kuang's rest, as he had not fully recovered from his injuries yet. Seeing Kuang awake, Yoon greeted the great warrior warmly. Acknowledging Kuang's recovery, Yoon engaged in conversation with him as the Divine Doctor excused himself to allow them to talk undisturbed. Kuang expressed his gratitude to Yoon for bringing him to receive treatment when he was unconscious, acknowledging that he owed Yoon his life. In response, Yoon humbly mentioned that it was his duty to help since Kuang had been injured while protecting him. He felt obligated to repay the favor. Kuang recognized Yoon's selfless actions, noting that Yoon not only saved him from a formidable opponent, but also ensured his safe journey to the Murim Alliance for treatment and cleared his comrades' names. In his thoughts, Yoon realized that his actions were driven by a hidden agenda. Kuang stood up abruptly, expressing his gratitude towards Yoon. He thanked Yoon wholeheartedly, referring to him as Big Brother Yoon, and declaring his intention to regard him as an elder brother for the rest of his life, adopting the name Yuchi Mu Kuang instead of Temu Kuang. Surprised by Kuang's sudden declaration, Yoon questioned the unexpected turn of events. He paused, catching on to the mention of the name Yuchi in Kuang's words. Kuang reassured Yoon to speak comfortably. He revealed that the name Temu Kuang was merely an alias he had adopted to evade his enemies. In Yoon's thoughts, the name Yuchi sparked a memory. He recalled a past conversation with Xiaopong, where Xiaopong had mentioned a tale from thousands of years ago about a country called Dijiang, where several feudal lords elected an individual with mysterious abilities as their emperor and served under him. He recalled 2 prominent families among these lords, the Yelu clan and the Yuchi clan. As Yoon accidentally stumbled over a chair, he was startled and surprised. He turned to Kuang, filled with fear, and questioned their connection to the grand plan. Confused by Yoon's sudden inquiry, Kuang asked about the grand plan, expressing his ignorance of them. Yoon followed up, asking Kuang if he was familiar with a figure known as the Heavenly Lord. Kuang grabbed Yoon's shoulder, his voice rising in a scream as he mentioned the Heavenly Lord. He demanded to know where Yoon had heard that name, expressing shock that Yoon was acquainted with a name repeatedly mentioned by the villains who had taken his family's lives. Yoon stood speechless, taken aback by Kuang's intense reaction. Under the moonlit night sky, Yoon and Kuang engaged in a conversation. Kuang questioned whether the individuals who served the emperor of a fallen empire 1,000 years ago were responsible for the massacre of his entire family. Yoon hesitated, admitting uncertainty about the specific details but hinting at a possible connection. In his thoughts, Yoon reflected on the novel's plot, considering that the only characters who would commit such heinous acts could potentially be the villains associated with the grand plan. Kuang questioned the involvement of the Yuchi clan, a prominent family of the Dijiang country, in the disturbing events. In response, Yoon referenced the murals discovered in the tomb, suggesting that the collapse of the Dejiang country was linked to a rebellion by its people. He proposed the possibility that one of those rebels could have been an ancestor of Kuang. Further, Yun reminded Kuang of his mention that something had been taken from his father, prompting them to consider the potential connections between the historical context and Kuang's family history. In his chamber, Yun held the patterned box, contemplating the revelations within. He spoke of the White Sword martial god's legacy being safeguarded within Kuang's family, only to be taken by the villains associated with the Grand Plan. The realization that the true name of the White Sword martial god was Yuchi Beck surprised him. Yun wondered if anyone in the story wasn't linked to the Dejiang country. Despite being the author, Yun acknowledged his own lack of understanding. He felt like there was so much he didn't know. In his thoughts, Yun considered the possibility that Kuang didn't stumble upon the secret cave by chance, but rather sought his ancestors' martial art. He wondered about the valuable item the Grand Plan had taken from the Yuchi clan. As Yun contemplated this, he heard a voice outside his chamber. Changgi's voice interrupted Yun, apologizing for the late intrusion and addressing Yun as his benefactor. Annoyed by the late-night interruption and Changgi's talkative nature, Yun couldn't help but wonder why he was there at such a late hour. Yun responded politely, addressing Changgi as Great Warrior Changgi, and inquiring about how he could assist him. Changgi explained that he had finished the mission assigned by the 7 Perfected Star and intended to return to the sect. He visited Yun to bid farewell before his departure. Yun acknowledged Changgi's decision, expressing well wishes for a safe journey back to the sect. Changgi expressed his contentment, stating that with a reliable hero, Yun in the Murim Alliance, he felt at ease. Yun chuckled in response, modestly deflecting the title of hero in his mind. Changgi cleared his throat, indicating that he had one more important matter to discuss with Yun. Perplexed, Yun asked Changgi to elaborate on what he needed to share. Changgi whispered to Yun, revealing that he was tasked by the Alliance leader to deliver a message. Yun was taken aback by the revelation and exclaimed in shock, realizing that the Alliance leader wanted him to be the representative for the Orthodox Demonic Conference. At the Wuhan branch of the Five Virtues Tea Shop, a worker warmly greeted the customers on the eve of their grand opening, announcing a special 50% discount on all items. The Wuhan branch of the Five Virtues Tea Shop attracted a large crowd of people eager to take advantage of the discounted offerings. In the midst of the bustling atmosphere, Xian and Woon engaged in a conversation. Hu expressed shock at the sudden mention of an Orthodox Demonic Conference. Woon responded with a hushed tone, signaling for caution in their discussion. Hu was taken aback, exclaiming, "You will be the Murim Alliance's representative?" Xian questioned the decision, wondering why Woon, out of everyone, was chosen to be the representative, especially considering his role as a divine cult unit leader. Xian speculated whether there was a specific reason behind Yun being selected for this significant role, or maybe Woon has caught on being a member of the divine cult. Woon explained that the Alliance leader, Mok, lacked significant influence as he did not hail from the 9 great sects or any prominent sect. Woon speculated that he was chosen due to his outsider status and the discomfort some Alliance members felt with the term demonic in the demonic cult. Additionally, Woon noted that few individuals were aware of the 7 Perfected Stars message, further justifying his selection for the role. Xian inquired, "Then, what are you planning to do now?" Woon responded, "Well, I heard that the Alliance leader has already sent a letter. For now, let's just do our best to ensure the conference goes smoothly. This conference is crucial to confront those who dare to impersonate our divine cult's name." Hu and Xian, understanding the gravity of the situation, expressed their serious agreement with Woon's plan. In the heavenly demonic palace, Moon, the leader of the divine cult, asked Jean and Wool for their thoughts. Surprised Wool, the third young lady, responded, questioning the Murim Alliance leader's decision. She believed it was time for their cult to conquer the Central Plains after resolving the frontier issue. Moon turned to Jean, a young leader in the divine cult, seeking his perspective on a crucial matter. "What do you think, Jean? Do you believe it's time for us to expand our influence to the Central Plains?" Jean, with a thoughtful gaze, responded with a strategic approach. "I suggest we prioritize the information provided by Woon. According to his insights, there are forces aiming to cause conflict between the Murim Alliance and our divine cult. The intention behind their actions is to provoke us into an attack on the Central Plains." In the halls of the heavenly demonic palace, Moon and Jean engaged in a conversation of grave importance. Jean, thoughtful and cautious, replied, "I think it's too rash to go to war, just like those scoundrels want. They may also desire mutual destruction of our forces, or they might have other schemes. Moreover, in a situation where they may be related to the blood cult, our divine cult's betrayer, Moon speculated with a hint of concern. Moon remarked, "Your thoughts mirror Woon's, Jean. This is the message Woon conveyed. He has requested me to consider the Murim Alliance's invitation for a conference. It appears that this time, the Murim Alliance leader has asked Woon to represent them." Jean, surprised by this revelation, responded in disbelief. "Woon?" Moon made a significant announcement to Jean. After successfully resolving the turmoil in the frontier by collaborating with the new Frontier King, Moon decided to entrust Jean with leading the upcoming conference. Jean was tasked with gathering his group promptly and heading to the conference's location to demonstrate his skills as a capable young leader. Jean gratefully accepted Moon's directive, expressing his readiness to fulfill his lord's orders. In Jin's mind, a question lingered. Woon will be the Murim Alliance's representative? Reflecting on Sarah's words, he remembered her acknowledgement. Without the information from the fourth young master Woon, I wouldn't have ascended to the Frontier King's position. As Jean pondered further, he realized the more he learned about Woon, the more he seems like a different person. In the quiet of midnight, Xiaopong expressed his hesitation about the timing of their departure. Yoon, feeling drowsy, emphasized the need to keep their plans secret from others in the alliance. Meanwhile, Sang raised concerns about leaving Kuang behind. Suyin shared the divine doctor's assessment that Kuang had not fully recovered. Ryuyan remained optimistic, stating that as long as they returned quickly, everything would be fine. Yoon agreed, emphasizing the importance of leaving soon to hasten their return. Mounting their horses to depart, the group set out on their journey. Xiaopong called out to Yoon, asking him to wait for him, as they embarked on their mission with a mix of determination and concern for Kuang's well-being. Two gatekeepers engaged in a conversation, discussing the departure of a remarkable individual and their companions. One gatekeeper wondered about their destination, while the other gatekeeper, impressed by the individual's exceptional skills in defeating the Yangtze water dragon at a young age, speculated that their mission must be of great importance. One questioned the truth behind the defeat of the Yangtze water dragon, expressing doubt and astonishment at the feat. The other, in response, highlighted the importance of their duty to protect the gate, emphasizing the need to focus on their responsibilities regardless of personal beliefs or doubts. Their exchange was abruptly interrupted by the unexpected arrival of Yoon. A moment of surprise unfolded as Yoon unexpectedly returned to the gate. The gatekeepers, puzzled by his sudden reappearance, questioned the reason for his return. Yoon explained that he had forgotten to report an important matter to the alliance leader, prompting his swift comeback. Concerned about the whereabouts of the other companions, the gatekeepers inquired about their status. Yoon reassured them that he had sent the rest away as there was urgent work to be done, with only the young warrior Suyin accompanying him back due to the pressing emergency at hand. Given the situation, the gatekeeper welcomed Yun's entry. Yoon gave thanks. However, as Yoon and Suyin stepped into the Murim Alliance, a surprising revelation unfolded. It was not Yoon and Suyin who had returned, but different individuals who had taken on their appearance, casting a cloak of mystery and intrigue.